Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game that I played with me versus Tang here on Lost Temple. Tang is going to spawn over here as the blue Zerg player, meanwhile I am spawning as the red Terran player. This game is brought to you by lucomputers.com, or rather this replay is brought to you by lucomputers.com. Go ahead and check out their website. There's a link on the top right hand corner for computers that have been tested for StarCraft 2. Now, a couple of things that I'm currently testing. One, I got a new microphone, so I'm trying to test this out. Hopefully it sounds a little bit better. It's a condenser microphone as opposed to the normal headset that I've been using. There is a little bit of an echo, but hopefully I'll be able to deal with that. Now, this is a Terran versus Zerg matchup here on Lost Temple, and after my placement matches, I'm afraid to say that I was placed in the Silver League. So I'm currently in the Silver League, but my opponent is also in the Diamond League as well. So maybe my placement matches were a little bit more difficult. And I obviously know the outcome of the game, but I'm going to try to talk as though I do not. I'm going to go ahead and set up a 12 racks. Meanwhile, my opponent Tang does not have a spawning pool down just quite yet. So it looks like he's going to be going to go ahead and in fact set up a 14 hatchery. Now a 14 hatchery is a very, very strong economic play coming in from the Zerg player. Zerg players really want that early hatchery just for additional larvae and additional minerals to mine from. It gives them a really strong advantage in terms of income and economy. Back over here, you're going to see me getting on an early refinery, get this barracks down, and really just trying to open up on any particular strategy. I've been trying more macro intensive strategies, more late game, not as much just Reaper harassment, as that style doesn't seem to be able to win me that many games, and I quickly do find out that it is going to be an early hatchery. So off of an early hatchery, I know that I don't have to get too many early units just because the spawning pool is going to be delayed significantly. Also, it tells me that he really wants to try to open up more of an economic game. Back over here, we now see Tang now just walking around with this drone and just going to be able to get a lot of sight into this space as well. Back over here, I'm going to go ahead and train up one Marauder and now also get my second gas as well. And as a Terran player, gas seems to be much more intensive, or Terran seems to be a much more intensive gas race than before, just because medics got removed from Brood War, and because of that you really need more gas as a Terran player, and you really need two refineries, even setting up your second base just to be able to produce more siege tanks and other units as well. You're going to see an Overlord now moving in, and because I got a Marauder first, I'm unable to train that Marine. Supply depot now completing up, so I will be able to get that Marine and now shoot that Overlord and try to shoot it away. Because I saw this Overlord though, I want to make sure I hide my tech. Building the factory in the back of my base instead of the front of my base allows me to get a little bit more of an element of surprise. Back over here, Tang already has his natural expansion up and already going to get those really powerful queens. Queens are such a strong unit early in the game just because they have 175 hit points, deals significant damage. Their damage is 4 with a range of 3, so I think, I'm not 100% sure, it seems like the queen's got a little bit of an upgrade. I don't remember 100%, and now he's also going to be using this spine crawler. Going to go ahead and move it down over here and get a very, very nice wall of spine crawlers, making it fairly difficult for any Marines or any other units to try to do any sort of run by and try to hit any of these drones, either on the low ground or even on the high ground. And Tang also setting up an early creep tumor. Very, very nice play by Tang. Early creep tumors are very important just because it allows all of your units to move much more quickly. You can see that the queen moves 0.94 plus 1.56 when on the creep. Zerglings move significantly and faster as well, and getting almost up to a 4 movement speed while on the creep, even without the speedling boost from the spawning pool over here. So yes, no speedling boost yet, and still they're able to move that quickly. And instead, I'm going to be going ahead and I'm going to open up with a starport into a reactor. Now I like this particular opening just because you're allowed to produce, you are able to train up a medevac and a Viking at the same time. And since you're going to, as a Terran player, you should always try to train up Marines and Marauders just in case a Zerg player tries to do any sort of heavy rush on you or any sort of baneling rush. You need to be able to have at least some units to fend off any early harassment. So with this, I will be able to get a large enough army to be able to move out and cause some harassment with this one medevac, and also with this Viking I'll be able to go out and start hunting some Overlords as well. So going Overlord hunting with the Viking while using the medevac, and with 6 Marines, 1 Marauder, already have the stim pack upgrades and now getting the concussive shell upgrades as well. So out flies this Viking. Viking just barely misses that Overlord over there, so unable to get any sight, really looking for that Overlord. And now in comes this Marine Marauder and medevac play, thinking about trying to drop on this high ground. He now sees this, and now in comes this Queen now dropping, and then here's the new animation for these Marines and Marauders as they're falling from the sky. And now these Marines and Marauders with that stim pack able to just go out and just cause a lot of harassment, really preventing any mining out of this location. Back over here, one Viking just keeping guard, making sure that there's no Overlords over there, as more Zerglings really want to come in, try to get a little bit more harassment in. All of these drones unable to really do any mining, and now I'm able to snipe down that one Queen. So one Queen now taken down, and this medevac very low on hit points gets taken down so easily. So all these units are going to get taken down here, but I was able to effectively stop him from mining for quite some time. Now with this Viking, I'm going to go ahead and continue to start Overlord hunting. So Tang now sees that there is one factory, but still doesn't see my starport yet, so unable to see that starport. And now I have 5 Vikings, so these Vikings will be able to move on out and cause a little bit of pressure. Zerglings, however, really want to try to pressure on this front door, and as these Vikings move out, I see that there are these Zerglings here, so I'm just trying to macro up a fairly large army over here so that those Zerglings are going to be unable to push. Tang now sitting at 49/52, still producing more Overlords as he was constantly supply locked. And now these 3 Vikings going to go ahead and move on in, and the Vikings are a very strong ground unit as well. It's one of those things that I didn't really realize until earlier or later in the game, that the Vikings essentially are as powerful as a Hydralist. They have 12 damage. They have 12 damage and also has a range of 6. So that is with a very fast rate, I can go ahead and take down a lot of these drones over here. So you can see the drone count just falling very quickly down to 28, 27. As more and more of these drones are getting hit, Zerglings are going to be trying to come in over here, and as those Zerglings are just hopping on over, those Vikings are just able to deal so much damage, takes down the Queen again, and continues to just deal more and more damage. Going to go ahead and hop back into the air and fly away, and now I'm just going to be able to continually Overlord hunt. So Overlord's now taking down, and Tang just taking a lot of pressure with all of this Viking harassment in the air. One Overlord down to 4 hit points, going to be able to take these all down. So we're going to see Tang sitting at 48/36. Zerglings trying to stay underneath, but those Vikings are not going to be landing anytime soon as these Vikings still move on out. Back over here, there's one Zergling sitting on this low ground. You can see the army difference, and just because Tang is just so supply locked at this stage in the game, he is really unable to produce any additional units. He is able to start producing Hydralists, but without the upgraded groove spines, he's going to be taking a lot of damage as well. 2 Hellions versus 1 Hydralist. Hydralist actually wins out in that battle. And in a larger battle with multiple Hydralists versus multiple Hellions, perhaps the Hellions will be able to do a little bit more damage with that Hellions and splashing up on that damage, on that splash damage. Now getting a reactor on this barracks, trying to get a larger army, and also training up and gonna go ahead and land this command center over here. You can take a look at the income tab. I'm still behind harvester wise, sitting at 25 harvesters compared to Tang's 29, but because he has such a strong economy, he has a very weak very weak army. You can see a 950 versus a 2300, especially with my Vikings. The Vikings such a powerful ground unit. Vikings strong, and Vikings seem to be powerful against Hydralists, especially if those Hydralists do not have that range upgrade. On top of that, they still deal effective damage against roaches as well with that very fast attack rate. And Vikings also have significantly more hit points than a Hydralist, 80 versus 125. Vikings, however, do cost an additional 50 minerals and 25 gas, so that's why it's really not that even of a fight. And if you look at it mineral-wise, but those Hydralists are just having such a hard time trying to push against all these Vikings in ground mode. And I'm really enjoying, and I'm really liking Vikings in ground mode, especially against Zerg. You can go ahead and use these Vikings, jump them up into the air, snipe down Overlords, cause them to try to spend a lot of minerals on Overlords, and spend a lot of larvae on Overlords, and then you can go ahead and land very quickly, deal with those Zerglings, deal with those Hydralists very easily. You can see that those units are just dying or falling to the wayside from all of these Vikings. And the Vikings are really the backbone of this army, as they're just going to be able to continue to move on in. You can see Tang with a whole lot of Overlords here, and as soon as I want to, I can just jump all of these Vikings into the air and take down all of these units fairly easily. Marines and Marauders still offering support on the back. but Tang really unable to do anything. A lot of drones getting taken down. Vikings, as soon as they jump into the air, can supply lock Tang once again, and that means no additional units, and Tang is forced to say GG. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. Please let me know how this new microphone sounds, if it's better or worse as well. Once again, thanks for watching.